Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Hey there, Rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will. But if you need a little bit of extra help on that homework, you've come to the right place because it's Office Hours, your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast featuring myself, Jeremy Franklin, and I am joined today by Paul Reisman, Dylan Hunt, joining us tonight, and special mystery guest Owen Wilson.
Wow, thanks so much for having me, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't know he played.
I didn't know he played at all. Like, haven't seen him. Twitter feed completely against it. Reaches out to me out of the blue. Wants to come on. He wants to come on Office Hours. So glad to have you here, Owen. Thanks for being. Can we get
my main deck was around that one dog from Rhea Cluster. Reminded me a lot of Marley and Me, which is great.
Interesting choice. Bold choice. So, before we get started, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of the podcast. And if you like what you're doing, go ahead and consider clicking that join button down below. It supports us here financially on the channel. As you can see right below us, we only need 3 more members to get that Kiki emote unlocked. So, consider clicking that join button right now to get all kinds of bonus content, as well as like bonus perks and the emotes and the chats and everything else. It really does go a long way. Regardless, though, glad that you're here. Happy to be here, a part of us. If you're looking to pick up Epic of the Dragon Lord, remember that Odyssey Games still has boxes at $85 US per box. There's a link for that down below, so you can get that. And they will be having pre-orders for the next set at the same price, $85 per box. We're just waiting on getting that link set up too. So, without any further ado, we are going to say bye to Owen Wilson, and I actually do need to talk to Mike
paid so much
Grant.
for him to appear.
I didn't pay anything for him to appear.
You should go in the other room and get Mike Grant.
Yeah, Owen, can you go to the other room and can you get Mike Grant, please?
Yeah, I'll conjure him up real quick.
Okay, thanks.
That was a very expensive appearance. I'm not paying for him again.
Weird. What's up, guys?
$300 I'll never get back.
Yeah. Mike.
Hey,
You just missed Owen Wilson.
He was
here?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's crazy.
So,
I got his
tonight-
autograph.
Yeah, it was great. Tonight we're talking about how, especially in the past month and a half or so, there's really been a big resurgence in finding other ways to play Force of Will beyond just being in person. I think that this is primarily due to, especially in the United States, the major resurgence that we've had of COVID in the past month and a half, which has kind of pushed especially the newer community that was really getting into the game pre-surge to have a hunger for trying to find those games, to be able to play those games in somewhere else. And it's really created a lot of flexibility in the community. And so I kind of wanted to have a conversation with you guys about what your experience has been like for how to play, where you play, and kind of what your experiences has been, as also talking about some of the ways that we've seen kind of pop up and how to get access to those. First off, Paul, who's on the chat, you don't need to pick up your syllabus because you work for me. But thank you for finally becoming a student. So now we only need 2 more members here.
2 more. Kiki's here.
So we can get Kiki. And we'll unlock Kiki tonight. I do have it set up so that I can turn on Kiki during this stream if we get it.
I think we need Owen Wilson for that.
I will spam the fuck out of the chat.
How else are you going to turn on Kiki?
Yeah.
I mean, if Owen Wilson joins and one other mystery joins, we're good.
Yeah, see, there you go.
We got it.
Yeah,
we got this.
Perfect.
I believe. You guys can do this. Only you have the power.
So obviously the one that's been, kind of used the most has been Untap. We use it on our weekly Foul Wednesday streams. But Untap has done a lot of improvements in this past, especially a couple months. And also they have really improved to be able to play on mobile. Like, you can play on your phone. Like, if we really wanted to, I could challenge Mike Grant to a game of Untap on my phone right now.
It's true.
We can play. And so I kind of, I've shared what playing on Untap is like, so I kind of want to see what the 3 of you guys have had in terms of your experience on playing on Untap. Does it scratch that itch? Does it miss something for you? Like, what is it about Untap that works for you or doesn't? So we can share that experience with the community. And in the community, if you play on Untap, let us know what your thoughts are. Anybody can go first.
Yeah, I probably use out of the most of us have probably used, other than you, Jeremy, and obviously whenever Paul jumps on Fat Wednesdays, I know both of you guys do that. But I've been, now that Conqueror is in full rotation in the OLS, I've been making sure to participate in every one that I can, giving that, here or there, work related stuff getting in the way, studio time getting in the way. I've been trying to make sure that I get to the OLS as much as I can, and honestly, it's been a really nice change of pace to play against other people playing decks in an open format like that. Because normally, whenever I'm playing Conqueror at locals, because my locals still does have people coming through, smaller ones, so we can manage things pretty easily there. But it's normally decks that I build and then just kind of pass around to people to give it a try to. So I get to actually experience new decks on the OLS.
Instead of playing against yourself?
Instead of pretty much playing against myself, yeah. No, but the OLS is really nice. I haven't done the New Frontiers or wildcard picks for the OLS too much, just because obviously my main focus is Conqueror, being on the committee and trying to make sure that everything remains balanced to the most it can, because this is Force of Will, and balance is a fairly foreign concept from time to time. But as long as the game's fun, and as long as things just flow naturally, I don't know. It's everything's in a pretty good spot. Right now, I think Lilius is the only boogeyman that has people scared, and rightfully so. Rizard sees a lot of usage thanks to JPK. Thanks to JPK being like, "Oh, this is the tier 0 deck."
Owen Wilson! Owen Wilson! Thank you so much
Wow.
for joining.
Oh my god, he's here!
You can pick up your membership and your syllabus in the office and report to class. Thank you so much, Owen, for joining us.
Oh my god.
I know
only
you
need
enjoyed.
one
He
more
seemed really
member.
into it.
One more member. And Brian Gates, there it is. We are at 0. Time to go get
Got
Kiki.
that Gates money.
Time to
Here
go
we
get
go.
Kiki unlocked. So you guys talk.
All
I'm
it
gonna
took
go
was
get Kiki.
Owen Wilson in the flesh to get us
You
to
guys,
Kiki.
you guys talk more about
Tell me
untapped
when
experiences.
Kiki. Tell me when Kiki.
And I'm
Tell me when
gonna
Kiki.
get it set up here.
Tell me when Kiki. I already told my untapped experiences. I'm waiting for Kiki.
Paul, I'm
I paid the
curious
first
about your.
dollar for Shayla.
I'm sure curious about your untap experience, because before we
Yeah.
started doing Foul Wednesdays, I mean, you and I met in person all the time. We didn't typically use untap very much, so your untap experience is certainly just newer. So kind of share what it's been like for you, trying to get used to the system and what it's been like to use it.
Yeah, when Untap first came out, I was kind of like adverse to it. Like I didn't really like it because there was just like a lot of, I don't know, just awkwardness on my side. So I used Lackey for the most part. It just seemed like a little bit of an easier UI for me to use for the most part. But these recent changes, I mean, just the shortcuts, the just getting used to it a little bit. Untap is feeling pretty good, although there's still some wonkiness on my end. It's been fun, like just hanging out with you and seeing the chat, just hang out and have fun. And building decks is pretty easy, and it looks good. Like Lackey's okay. Like if you need to play Lackey, that's fine. But Untap is definitely like a step up. Again, like just a couple of kinks to work out. And do they have an iOS app for Untap?
It's
Or is it
not. It's just. I don't think it's an app. I think
It's
you
just a website, I guess.
I think you can just go to Untap on a phone now and it works.
Oh, great.
I believe is how it works.
Let's see.
I mean, it's better than it was before. It didn't used to be an option, right?
Right, correct.
So,
You
that's
used to not
something.
even be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not in the App Store.
Is there an Android app, or is it also just a website for Android?
I believe it's an app on the Android store.
Okay, that's a little bit better, but I don't know. My experience with Untap has more or less just been like, it's definitely better than not having anything. And it's a lot easier than jumping on a webcam and playing with someone, but I found that it doesn't really play like I'm actually playing the cards. My line of thought just doesn't really flow very well on that kind of stuff. And it's not even just like Untap in general. It's just a lot different to play on a simulator than actually have cards in front of you, because things like lines of play just kind of program differently in your head when you're playing a video game versus playing
Sure.
like in person. So that's why the webcam duels are pretty fun.
Yeah,
I love you so much.
Even when I got destroyed last one, it was still really fun.
yeah. So it should work now.
Kiki Apocalypse.
Check the
I'm waiting.
check the foul. No, it still says the uwu one. That's the wrong one. Oops.
Ooh,
That comment creates.
it's Kiki. Ooh.
No, Kiki's Pog.
It used to be Imul. Apparently, I was wrong, and we needed to get to 75 and not 70. But I'm a man of my word, so I just deleted.
Jeremy lied to us all.
So I just deleted one of the one of the ones that like never gets used, and I put it in Kiki.
What? He's removing emotes?
I
Wow.
pulled an
one is it?
emote. I pulled away uwu, and I put in. I'm putting in
took
Pog.
away Uwu.
Okay, so you should.
Which one was Uwu?
Imul.
Emil, I think you said.
Yeah.
It's the best girl. Like, come on.
Yeah, but nobody used it, so people want Kiki.
Mike probably used it all the time.
Probably, yeah.
There it is.
There
I'm so
it is.
excited.
Come on.
Ready. I'm ready to spam Kiki.
There it
dude.
is. Kiki is in the chat.
In the chat.
Get your chats.
Get some Kikis in the chat.
The next one will be the return of Imul, I guess. If we can
Yeah.
if we can get 5 more members, then we'll get back to
we can
having
bring her
Imul.
back.
Let me
Oh my gosh.
update the thing.
Someone play Lich, we could bring her back from the dead.
Yeah.
Jeremy didn't tell us we're killing other emotes. to bring in
I
Kiki.
didn't
Like,
know
come
that
on.
I didn't know that we were killing Imul to bring back Kiki. I'm sorry. Here, I'll put
Oh my
Imul.
gosh. You can't. He hasn't heard.
So many bots.
That's
This is like real Twitch chat,
this
dude.
is
So
the
many
part.
bots.
This is exactly why I wanted this Kiki emote. Is for this. So thank you all so much.
Glorious.
So to speak to my experience with Untap, having played with it kind of when it was first getting started, like when FAO was first getting started on it to now, it's certainly improved a lot. It's definitely a system where very similar to like Duel Masters not Duel Master. Yeah,
Dueling Network.
Dueling Network. Dueling Network for
Dual
Yu-Gi-Oh!
masters. You got
It's
Shield.
like
Duel Masters.
Dueling where Dueling
Shogun.
Network it was essentially just a picture moving website, right? So like
Mhm.
Dueling Network is just like we uploaded all the pictures, the website doesn't know how the rules work, you have to be able to move the pictures where they go, and that's what Untap is in a sense. But like once you learn it and learn it smoothly and learn how to use the shortcuts and everything else, it feels very much like playing a natural game. And I think the thing that's in the past month and a half that's really improved that, jeez Louise, there's so many Kikis, has been been people using Discord more actively. I do know that Untap has been working to bring voice chat into Untap, which can be a very positive thing, because being able to have the experience of talking to the person you're playing with as opposed to just typing does bring playing on Untap closer to what it's like in the real world, which I think has also greatly improved my experience with it, especially during the FAO Wednesdays. I know that when we really started to get into Untap even before the pandemic, it was like, oh, well, what if we play like Friday night streams on Untap? And it was like, yeah, but then I have to type. And I didn't want to play with people that way because it really slows down the pace. It really makes it feel a lot more blocky. But now having done the Discords and that kind of thing, any kind of, even like a basic microphone is good enough because we're just chatting, we're just talking and looking at pictures. So it's definitely something that, like, if you're hungry for wanting to play games, hop into a Discord server. You can even hop into the Ruler School one. We have a link in the description below, and we have a looking for group page in that and several voice rooms for you to be able to hop in and play. Like, Untap has quickly become probably the closest experience to playing in real life for people who don't have a camera. Then
Although you can use your phone as a camera. And
you
that's what
can
I'm
use
doing
your
right
phone
now,
as a
actually.
camera too. That is indeed, there has been more work to help Discord like teach you how to set up your phone as a webcam, which works really nicely for playing those games.
And if you're on Android, there's also one called Droid Cam, and lets you just use it as like a webcam, so your PC sees it as a webcam, which means that you don't need two devices, which is still, you still need the camera, but you don't need to have the screen facing you, so that helps some people. That's what I do, actually. It's what's
Yeah, for sure.
broadcasting right now.
Yeah, and then, with that system, that also kind of is helping a lot of players right now, especially in areas where maybe your store isn't actively carrying the game, or you're still working on it. Maybe you weren't able to get as much product as you want. or maybe before you're wanting to invest money in singles, you want to try out some stuff. One, Untap is free. Two, Untap has every card for free. So like,
Yeah, you do need a smartphone. A flip phone won't work, but
so the nice
Says
part
you.
about that, the nice
yeah,
part
it
about
says
that
me.
is
You're right.
I'm gonna play.
there's so many like
I'm gonna play my Welser deck by pressing.
Chat called me out. You're right. You're right, chat. You cannot use a
dude.
flip phone unless you're Mike Grants, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just gonna press 9 times to make
I
a
guess
Y.
we'll cover
That's
all
the
our
hotkey.
bases. You also can't use untap with the flip phone. That's also not on the table. So I know,
Unfortunate.
This is
very much so.
I'm still just laughing at the fact that I have with the new setup of the screens, I actually have two screens in front of me now, and so I can have the chat a lot closer to where I'm looking for talking to you guys, and it's just geeky. It's just
Oh well, yeah.
it's,
Listen,
Literally
babe.
got
Listen,
the
honey, my
webcams
job
like
here
right
is to make
here
it
in the
geeky
middle
all
of
the
my
way
screen.
down.
So I have the
Yeah.
Kiki chat just right on the side, and then I have you guys. So I'm just trying to like
yeah,
actually look like I'm looking at the camera, and then I just got all these Kikis everywhere.
yeah, exactly. It's the same for me. So one of the things
Mike,
one of
okay.
the other things that I'll recommend is to kind of talk about what Mike's been chatting about in terms of the OLS. There is a link in the description directly to the OLS's Facebook page. It's run by our lovely boy Kaltuma.
Keltuma is
And
a godsend.
He's pretty okay guy.
he
you know?
Yeah.
he is maybe
He's
we need
aight.
maybe the next emote's the Cal emote. Maybe we'll go for that.
Oh,
We gotta bring back Emil first.
Yeah,
come
we got to bring
on.
back IMO
IU.
first.
IU.
Yeah, like come on.
there
IU,
is-
whoa.
I think there was an
Yeah.
IU emote at one point, but we took
But you
it.
killed it too.
I killed that
Jeremy
one
kills
too.
emotes.
It's true.
I just want Cal's. Can somebody just like draw Cal's face and then make that an emote? I'm not very good at art.
Why? Just so Jeremy can
So-
kill it?
So with the OLS,
Yes.
for those of you who
Yes,
don't know
okay.
what it is, oh my god,
Oh my
I'm
God,
losing
ban
control
Stephen
so fast.
Holsheiser.
I'm gonna hold
Ban
on.
him.
I'm gonna mute Mike here in half a second. The OLS is a way for you to play in like tournaments where you play in at least a game a week. And it's pretty much every format, which again speaks really nicely to the beauty of playing in Untapped, because a lot of times, especially now even before the pandemic, if you had a community that was kind of fresh or more older players or couldn't get product, a lot of these were playing like fan formats anyway, like playing Wanderer with a house ban list, playing Conqueror, playing Epic Stories, playing like more chill. And the OLS is a way for you to engage in that kind of play with players from all over the world. And it's free, and there's actual prizes.
It's free.
There was also an OLS tournament that had invites to the nationals that Vite Ramen is going to be doing. Like,
Are they still doing that? Or
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
it's obviously not happening this year, obviously, at this point.
Vite
but-
Ramen is still going to be doing a season next year, and everything's going to like carry over into that season. So
Yeah,
I've talked
similar to
them.
how I Spy's honoring any invites that were made last year. It's gonna be like the same deal. I assume.
Okay, it's just it's a bit weird because I got mine at the
double season
at the one that you ran in the
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 Foul
one with the
Festival.
time spinning, which
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, that carries over next year. All right, that carries over into next year.
Yeah, that carries
I'm like,
over.
man,
a long
I
time.
qualified like 4 formats ago.
Yeah, it'll be good. And so like I definitely recommend, if you're looking for even just a casual game, even just once a week, is that all you can do, is check out the OLS for sure. They play literally every format. I think one time they even played Pauper.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a pretty good
There
one.
was a Pauper event, New Frontiers, Wanderer, Conqueror, Epic Stories. Play it. Cluster. They even do cluster format. Like literally, if you're looking for a format to play, you can probably just message Cal and he'll make it a format if he wasn't already planning on putting it in the schedule.
Yep. Don't overwhelm him though. He's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah. Just message
What do you
him and
mean?
say,
Are there like
"Hey, can
7
we get one?"
tournaments? Is a lot of work? What are you talking about, man?
Hold on, I didn't know that.
But one of the things I do want to talk about though has been the webcam play. I was speaking to the fact that we just had a couple of webcam tournaments through Carta Magica. And there's
Good
also
guys.
a couple other people I know who have looked into trying to host webcam tournaments and things like that. I know CCG Prime, who by the way is sponsoring a giveaway later in this episode, is going to be doing a potential webcam tournament for like a Conqueror format. And I think when you first hear the words webcam tournament, I would be interested
It's
to hear
better than it
what
sounds.
your thoughts, the three of your initial thoughts are when you hear playing a tournament on a webcam. Mike, go.
First of all, this is my current setup for my room. How do I do? Don't mind the shorts.
I'm glad you're wearing
Oh,
shorts.
God.
Like, that could have been a lot worse.
How do I like get people to see this? Like I've done. Actually, no. Going back to when. So that's one of the first struggles with it. But the way I kind of got around it, so I see the shorts on, on the thing.
Oh snap!
Oh, man. Okay. Anyway, going back to when TCG Scrubs actually hosted that. Was it the draft tournament for AO3, which was a really cool concept, and I was able to figure out kind of how to set up like an extra table outside of my desk, put a mat over it. It looked fine, played fine. It was actually really easy to do. So
Yeah, like I mean, a lot of people have that thing like, "Oh man, this is such a huge hassle. How am I gonna get this set up?" And I'm like, "Well, I got like a $30 arm off Amazon that is like a camera arm, and you can literally just put it on any table anywhere. And I'm literally using the computer desk with my keyboard. Like that's what I was literally using to play on. I just moved the keyboard slightly to the side, throw down the play mat. Cool. I need a parameter whenever I move the keyboard back. But it's honestly, you only need a very minimal investment. I saw a creative guy using his bed as a hey, it worked. He had the field, he had the space. It worked, right? Like it's right next to his computer. I mean, whatever works, right? It doesn't have to be a conventional setup.
Yeah, and Paul, what are your thoughts when you first hear those words, webcam tournament?
Well, the first thing I thought of was what Dylan said. This second thing that is now stuck in my mind that I can't get it out is what Mike did.
That's
so now
very
I just
fair.
have his shorts.
What with
in
the
my
short? Yeah, okay. I was
That's
like,
fair.
Well, think about where. Okay,
No, I won't go that way. It totally did. It always happens.
no, just think about like a table over where my shorts were.
Yeah, perfect. So
Yes,
so I
Sure,
will,
that'll work.
I'll speak to this. You know, some other things that I've heard from the community in regards to concerns with webcam tournaments have been difficulties. The main things have been like difficulties in setup, you know, which is arguably fair. But like there are definitely workarounds, and we'll talk about those in a little bit because I think it's important. I think more people who learn about those workarounds will actually find that it's a really rewarding experience. And the other thing is difficulty of like concerns related to cheating. And I think there's a piece. Yeah, Dylan's gonna show us it seems like Dylan's gonna show us the arm that he bought, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Difficulties related to cheating, like, oh, I can't see your field the whole time, or like, what about, you know, if you move cards off screen, or what happens with the internet connection? Like, we're not Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's a webcam tournament.
We're not. First off, let me assuage your fears. DBS has been doing this with like 300-man tournaments, and they've been fine.
Nice.
We're Force of Will. Our tournaments are typically smaller, and our fan base is less toxic. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna be fine and not have a bunch of cheaters. Like if you want to,
yeah, when that resident player is doing a 100-card combo on you, I mean, he'll still be doing it when you disconnect and reconnect, so you don't need to worry about
yeah, exactly.
Like, go like literally just make yourself a cup of coffee or something while he's doing it. Just
and the other thing to notice too is like, if people wanted to cheat in a webcam tournament, Force of Will is not the game where they would be cheating.
But they could get a metal ruler.
Yeah.
Instead of like $500, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you want that when you could get a metal ruler?
Right. So like, assuage your fears that way. So the Force of Will community
Mike's like, I don't know, maybe.
The Force of Will community as a whole is just a much
it's a nice community,
safer place to be able to engage in that way. And the other thing is like taking the risk of playing in a webcam tournament, or just like being willing to play with another person on webcam, gets you another point of connection, which pays off in dividends. I know that there's a gentleman who
Pedal Kiki, maybe.
I believe
petition the company.
I don't know if he's in the chat right now. I don't think he is, but Yotes Gaming is the YouTube channel. It's a father and son
Oh yeah, they're cool. I
The
like
father
those
and
guys.
son have been starting to do Force of Will content, and it's good. It's good stuff. It's nice to see other people jumping in. They have both played in both of the webcam tournaments, and
Oh,
specifically have talked about the idea that they're playing in the webcam tournaments to meet people and learn how to play the game better. And like, there is so much more that you can learn playing the game, even at the level of just being on a webcam, than you can playing on Untap. Like, Untap is still good, don't get me wrong. If that's what you have to
I'm not
do,
discrediting Untap when I say
right?
like, oh, it doesn't feel the same. It does feel different. That's what it just
Yeah.
comes down to. Like
Exactly.
again, OLS probably wouldn't have been possible without Untap, just for the reasons you mentioned, right? But at the same time, actually having a card in your hand and putting it down, it just has a much different physical connection with the kinetic feeling and stuff. So yeah, I definitely see where they're coming from.
Yeah, for sure. And so, that's one of the things that what I encourage people to do is when people are starting to notice that I've made them mods. People, if you have that opportunity to be able to play with someone via webcam, like, it's a safe experience, and I highly recommend it. And it is very, very easy to actually set up a webcam to not have to do what Mike Rand does. The other thing is also like communication. Like, you would be surprised how much good communication when you're playing on a webcam will mitigate any issues related to playing on a webcam. So
Voice chat is so nice when you're playing someone. It's like you're literally right there.
right, even so, like, I'll even speak to the fact that when I do play on webcam with some people, where I play is back there and my screen is here. So like, I'm very typically not even looking at my opponent's board state because I'm staring at my desk over there. But like, I have headphones on and I have a microphone, so I can literally just say like, "Hey, can you remind me what's on your field?" Or like, "Hey, can you like tell me what this card is? I can't quite tell." Your opponent's going to tell you. Like, you just talk.
100%.
Like,
It's almost like you're playing a game.
exactly. And so, take the chance. Take the chance to play on webcam games is what I can say, because it really is a lot of fun. And like, now is a time of Force of Will, when we're waiting for the competitive season, when we have a brand new cluster of stuff, like when you're not playing in a competitive environment that really matters, to like, now is the time to be getting that tactile fun experience, just trying stuff out and learning.
Yeah, like you
Because
learn that you should cancel things. You're like, oh,
yeah, because
this guy
then
bounces the hand as a cancel.
it's also going to give you a taste of how good this community is for when you do decide to travel to a tournament. Because I guarantee you, the kind of environment that you had in the webcam tournament, or like just playing casual games against a member of the community via webcam, like, that is the same experience you're going to get going to a GP, and it actually can kind of mitigate some of the anxiety of it. I know that when Paul and I can speak to this, I'll have Paul back me up for sure. When he and I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, and then considering the idea of going to go try our first tournament for Kaijudo, we were both really nervous because like, we had never really stepped into the world of what a competitive game or even playing games against other people in person was like for anything other than Yu-Gi-Oh, and
Such a great example.
that's a terrible, stress-inducing, toxic community to play tournaments in, like high-end tournaments in.
Oh, he's
And so-
throwing shade now.
And so,
Yeah.
like, Force of
Is it
Will,
shame if it's not true?
Force of Will is like, isn't like that. And so, for me, if I know that it can be nerve-wracking to try to consider going to a tournament and being like, oh, is it going to be a bunch of competitive people? I'm not going to know anybody. Is anyone going to spend time with? Is anyone going to want to talk to me? Like, those thoughts are real. And I think playing games on webcam with the community now during this time actually might help you feel a lot more comfortable when we can go to events in person, because it's going to be the same experience.
100%. Like, I know you mentioned the Yotes gaming. They were new, and I think I potentially played with them. I'm not sure. I did play with at least 2 people each time that said, "Hey, I'm actually new. I'm just trying to learn how to play," kind of thing, right? Like, if you see me do something wrong, just give me a heads up, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's cool. It's whatever." That happens like every regional, 100%. Like, hell, I know Rebecca's in this chat here. I met her at the Vegas GP. She was playing her first GP. She'd never really done anything like that before, so like. Yeah, it happens literally all the time. And for everyone who's just like, oh, it's really hard to get like a setup. Again, this is off of Amazon. It's like a mic stand or whatever. This packaging is wrong. I don't know why it says it's for a mic, but anyway, it has a spot for a camera on it, whether it's a webcam or a smartphone or whatever. It's very simple to set up, and I think it was 30 Canadian, so even cheaper for American players.
That's like $22.
Yeah, it's like nothing. And everyone has to start somewhere. It's a lot easier to be in your own home at your own desk, sitting down with your own cards and seeing someone on a camera. Yeah, you did forget your ruler.
But we got it for you. That's another good example. The Forza Will community was like, we're gonna make sure you get to play in this event. Somebody
I have
find
never
an
seen
Adam.
someone try so hard because someone literally drove 20 minutes to their hotel room, grabbed one, and drove 20 minutes back, and they actually missed like round one
just
to get
so Victoria
ruler.
could play.
She could play, and yes, it was pretty wild. I've never seen that for anything. That just kind of goes to show you how much this community will go. But again, just falling back to what Jeremy was saying, like, it's so much less anxiety inducing to be like, oh, this person's really cool. They're talking to me. They're helping with my deck. They're giving me ideas, and I'm gonna see this exact same thing in person when I'm at a tournament. I don't need to worry about them being like, oh, sorry, you drew a card, Judge. Give him a game loss. Like, and then Jeremy walks over and slaps you.
I would do that. I would probably be like, hey, stop it.
Yeah, for drawing a card, banned.
No, I would slap the person who Judge called you on that.
No, I don't think anyone misses the variant cards.
Yeah,
Those were awful. Man, I remember what was it? The one Sherry Resonator. I think it was only played as like a one of anyway. But the variant was like $40 or something like that, and this is just like an uncommon or something like that. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, where it was like flip Sherry.
Everyone's like, "Oh, it's so much better." I'm like, "Is it really like $40 better?" I would just not play it at that point. It's like, "Oh, it's so much better, trust me." And I don't think anyone who top had that card, but just like the stress of being like, "Oh, if it is good, I need it, and I can't grab it in like 10 cases." Like, the odd of getting a variant card were so ridiculously crazy. It was. You only got one in a box, I think.
I believe so. I believe it was one
like,
variant per box.
And there's like 6 variants per set or something like that. So it was 5.
Yeah, one per each.
That makes sense.
The pink blue whale.
Yes, the variants did a different art. I mean, that was cool. I guess they could just do that though. I mean, they did that with the rulers in this set, right? Where they just did like
which whale had fire breathing? Which one had butt breathing? I forget.
Butt breathing.
Yeah, the one with King's Defense being blue. It's the opposite of. I don't know.
Oh goodness gracious! So
just gonna let the ground.
I just remember one of the variants lost all of its abilities and got a symbol skills like Pierce or something. It's like, well, I don't know if that's a good trade-off, Chief.
Oh yeah, the Void of Swords, I think.
Yeah, it's like had like all this text. It's like, what's the variant? I was like, Pierce, Swiftness, or something like that. Like, okay, I guess.
Pierce like null instead of costing 4 less from hand. If they had null.
Yeah,
who's making that trade-off?
Yeah, for sure. I think what we're trying to say here as we reminisce about bad Rhea cards is that this game is too fun to not take advantage of the ways that we can still play it right now. And I think that the pros far outweigh the risks. There's just so many different ways for you to do it, so many different communities to get engaged in. And like there is just a system to even be able to use your phone as a webcam. Like Trey said, being able to talk with your opponent also allows you to make friends or find dedicated practice partners if you want to get serious. Like playing on Untap when it's just text is still a good experience if that's all that you can do, and I definitely recommend it. But there is so many easy steps that you can take to build like additional things to that experience that will just make it better. And one of them is losing my grants. That's a thing that you can do.
that's the positive experience you get. You can lose my grants.
Yeah.
Hi Mike.
Discord.
And I think we've had this conversation before. Even just recently of like
you can't let the haters get you down.
Negativity.
Yeah, they're just there. Like
whatever.
I've never seen any of those people at a GP, and the few people I have, like I'm not gonna name any names, but a couple people who are always like the game's out. I see them in person and like, oh hey man, how's it going? I love this game. It's so fun to play. And I'm like, bruh, why can't you just be like that everywhere else? Like,
Travis, I'd have to look up exactly
Keyboard warriors, baby.
I'd have to
Yeah,
look up
basically.
exactly what Untap says for their voice chat system. I
they
know
have
that they are
voice chat on Untap.
I think that they're working on it. I'm not sure how good it is. I personally haven't tested it because I just use Discord.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is like we said of not even to dig into the path of like, oh, negativity, ignore it, but like just put it. I had this conversation on the Reddit Discord the other day of, especially now is the time that I think the amount that you can get out of it versus what you have to put into it is like so stacked for like what you get out of it for actually how much effort you have to put in. It's like Force of Will's a tier 2 game, like that is what it is. And so you're gonna get it. It's naturally going to have to subsist on people putting things into it and then paying it back to you. But what I want this conversation specifically to talk about is you do not have to put in much and during this time, and you will get a lot out of it. And so I kind of wanted to share how the four of us have been doing that, and I think we've hit that conversation, hit that really good, those points really well of like what we're doing to get out of it, or putting into it, and what we're getting out of it, because it really has been enjoyable. I think playing, Foul Wednesdays, we've done 3 now at this point. We're coming up on our 4th one this weekend, or this Wednesday. Like, playing against members of the community, even just like single games in a like gauntlet. When I first talked with Paul, I was like, so we'll do like deck building for an hour, and then I'll play with you for an hour, and then I'll do an hour of playing with the community. I don't think I've ever ended before 10, like doing the Foul Wednesday streams, because I'm just having so much fun, like playing with people over voice chat over on Untap. So like, like the players are there, the communities are there. It does not take much to search for it. Just search for it.
And the best thing is that like we're in such a time right now where we're getting such interesting things that even like the Boogeyman decks are interesting to work against. Like,
yeah,
at locals, Joey's been playing Lilius because he's like, all right, cool. I want to learn this deck. It seems like it's going to be really good. There's a turn 2 OTK involved in it. It's pretty consistent. If the turn 2 OTK doesn't go off, you still have a lot of damage ceiling. Let's try it out. And out of 15 games we played, I never won. Just not once. But every time I played against it, I was like, okay, how could I have done that differently? Is there a new workaround that I could think of? Let me try a different deck too.
It also still felt like you were playing the game.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And
yeah, the problem is just his mic. So
I mean, yeah, but also
you still feel like there's interactivity even when you're not doing well. Like
like the
in the
matchup,
online. Yeah.
Dude, the Arla matchup versus Lilius is so interesting just because like you have the Pierre to stop the turn 1 combo,
pew, pew.
But then you have to make sure that your Arla can outpace the flip when your judgment comes so much later. So you have to get lucky off of the awakening to get the Regalia from time to time. It's really cool. I really like the counterplay with it. I lost because I got Percival to death, which is a problem on Percival's design more than Lilius's, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
To some degree, Lilius is still a very overtuned card.
I do want to put forward this statement. My friendship with Lancelot is ended. Ground Splitter Rabbit is my friend now. It's just it's just a better.
Jeremy's got to
pick a Ground Splitter off of Percival. What's wrong with you?
Okay,
Jeremy,
so let's talk about. Dumb? So I built a Necrolance deck on stream for last week's Foul Wednesday. I cast Lancelot 0 times in 3 hours.
Yeah, because you saw me like, ew, Lancelot.
Because every single time I saw him, I was like, yeah, but Ground Splitter Rabbit. And it was just better every time.
I think that's most cards in this format that are fire. You're just like, Lancelot? Nah, any other card, bam.
Lancelot has aged so poorly.
He's aged like milk.
Yeah,
because even when I was playing the Melja starter deck verbatim with no cards change, like just to try him out kind of thing, I'm just like, ew, Lancelot. Like, let's chuck him for like a discard effect. Just get him out of here. I don't care if I'm using Gwen, which I also felt wasn't great, but it's there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, no,
get Lancelot out of here. Just go. Just why is he here? he's definitely not a great card anymore.
Yeah, no.
It just
They're
makes me remember
terrifying.
when he was like the broken boogeyman, like, oh, Lancelot's so good on turn 2.
And I think that's the
Dude,
biggest.
imagine,
Go ahead.
like, I'm so happy we never have to deal with missed Lancelot triggers ever again because he's
Don't worry,
just
we still do.
not
I'm sure
good.
someone's gonna have to revive him for like the revival spell or whatever. Like, oh shit, I guess I'm summoning Lancelot.
oh, attack. Where's your damage trigger going? My what?
But he doesn't have 1,000. Oh yeah, but he might deal the 1,000. So,
So,
you know.
Yeah, but you'll never know. He might.
You know, I think for me, Val right now has the fun of the deck building, the cards that we have available have made it so much more of an actual game of chess. Like it actually is a 2-player game now. Like even
Crazy how that works.
even the Lilius deck, which arguably is the fastest kill in the format, like is actually still playing a 2-player game, as opposed to like Sig Alter format was not a 2-player game. Like that was like you're solitary. Like that's all you're doing.
Like a lot of people like to focus on like, oh, these are the big 2 decks. It's like, well, yeah, but like for example, if I enter with an Arla deck and I'm just like, no one's really like expecting me to show up and play an Arla deck. Hell, on the last event, I played an Arla mirror match. I'm like, I've literally never had this happen. I guess we're just gonna see how this works out. I guess. And you're just like, yo, you didn't fear the card that stops the cards from coming into play, and you just lose if you got it. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, I just didn't think you had it, so I just went go for it. I didn't. Like it's that kind of interactions you don't get in like a normal format, right? So you get to see all the rulers people don't normally play and the deck interactions that don't normally happen, and it just that's the fun part of this game, right?
Yeah,
seeing all the stuff that isn't like meta or happen all the time.
Yeah, and Paul, I do kind of want to hear your example on that because you've talked about this idea of when I first started teaching you this game.
Mhm.
That was early
2015,
early
2014.
early Lapis cluster, right?
Oh no, it was right before Alice.
It was like so but then so I started teaching it to you at the end of Grim into early Alice. Then we got into the Reflect Refrain era. I really got you actually playing this game actively, like end of Alice into early Lapis. And then, now we've been doing videos, more directly doing videos together, especially since Valhalla Cluster into now. I would be curious to see your thoughts of, like we say, of FAO feels very much now at all levels of the competitive ring versus the casual ring. Like it feels like a game, like we are playing a game of chess. Like you have to play a game with your opponent to be able to like play the game. And so I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on that, or if you think that's true, or if you find that different. Or
I definitely think it's more like Grim and Alice New Frontiers format in the early days when there's like this broad sort of format that has like a couple of viable options. Like I remember way back then we had like a Rezard list that was available. We definitely had Blazer Knights, Blazer Cthulhu's, an Alice deck that was just around.
The Granny Rush.
Rush.
And even if you were just like, I just want to do budget, you have Faria Beats with like little weenies in white. And so like there were a ton of decks, and you definitely had a little bit more interaction and a little bit more precision in the way you had to play. And there was that like momentum feeling. And for a while there, it just felt like a wombo combo sort of thing where it was like you have to play. I mean, you have to play Prissy or Fox. You have to play Sherry. And that kind of has started to fold away in this very interesting way that I did not really expect coming into this format in particular. I have to deck build differently now.
Yeah.
I have to think about how cards laterally interact with each other rather than just like singularly or linearly interact with other things.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a very different thing. But the thing I really want to say before I forget is, especially if, if we consider the fact that we're doing online stuff with webcams, whatever. I mean, if you are not finding a locals, or you're like, this game looks really cool, but I only have 4 people and I can't play because they can't get together. I mean, after the pandemic's over, this is an option. Like locals not being an option doesn't really get in your way anymore.
Yeah, that's a big thing too, is like the more work you put into it now, even post pandemic, you've built those connections to be able to play, right? So like
Yeah.
I doubt that all of us are going to say, oh, okay, pandemic's over, I'm just never gonna play Untap ever again. Or I'm never gonna play
Right.
Yeah,
webcam ever
like,
again. Like I'm
That's
still
the thing
gonna
about
play it.
the setup is once you've built the setup, you even if you put it in your closet and don't use it for 3 months, you still have the setup. Like you still have the experience of like, oh, I just gotta snap my webcam onto this thing and then I just play it like that, right? So
Mhm.
you don't lose that experience. And I mean, I obviously wouldn't play webcam as often, given the
Right.
fact that I would have access to physical play. But for example, if I only play once a week and then I wanted to practice for an event or something, I can't really practice with Mike because he's on the other side of the continent, right? But hey, I can just jump onto webcam or jump on Untap or whatever, and I can play with him. So that's
We've done
something that
that.
doesn't go away just because we're not in a pandemic, right?
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
like the more effort you put in now, the more investment you put in now, like it's gonna pay off in the long run. And in so many different ways, right? Not only in terms
Yeah.
of being able to find testing partners, being able to find people who can teach you, being able to even just introduce. Like, I'm trying to figure out a way. Like, legitimately, I'm thinking about. There are people in my area, people who I know from like growing up in high school who play Magic, who have shown some interest in Force at Will, but like there's part of me that I have demo decks now. There's part of me that's legitimately saying I might just drive to your house and drop off some demo decks and then teach you over webcam. Like,
It's been so painful because they gave us these amazing like demo decks, like nice quality. Like they built two, so there's different ones to play, kind of like what they do with the Captain Hook and Peter Pan one, but they're actually really solid,
yeah,
even though they're basic. And I can't have like a demo day because
you're right.
obviously there's a pandemic. So I'm just like, well, I mean, like I'll leave them at the front here if you want to try playing. Come back when times are better, I guess, and
Yeah,
I'll
right.
show you the ropes. But
Come back when the end times
that's
have
why it's
ended.
it's so conflicting because we never had such a good teaching tool before. But
Yeah,
I'm just like,
the teaching
I
decks are
can't use it.
very
Here you
good.
go, guys.
Yeah, the teaching decks are
Like
very good.
it's not like the best deck ever, but that's not the point, right? The point is that it's good to teach you how to play, and then you go from there. And I feel like a lot of people just like, oh, the cards aren't like the same as regular cards. Like, yeah, but again, if you throw too many things at a new player, it kind of makes them panic, right? And I know that
Yep.
firsthand, having taught a lot of people. So having simple stuff to go forward with is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, as we kind of come, we've still got a little bit of time to talk here, but I do want to hit on one point that I'm seeing in the chat from Trey, kind of speaking to the state of the game right now. I'm liking the gap between tier 1 and 2 decks isn't as bad as it has been in the past. He remembers the Turbo Gwyber versus Mikage format. Nothing else could come close to their power levels in that meta. You're not wrong. There, we talk about the Fox Priscia meta. We talk about
Baja Blast.
Baja Blast meta. We're talking about the Sherry meta, where like
Factor
it's literally
Fairy.
a non-starter. Like, are you this deck? Are you this deck's worst matchup? Okay, then you're not playing the game, right? Right now, I mean, even yes, it was a webcam tournament, so like the level of competitiveness, who knows exactly, but I mean, people were playing stuff. Yeah, you're right, Paul. But like the top 8 from the webcam tournament was Rezard, Lilius, Celesta, Rezard, Celesta Welser. So it was only 2 Rezards, I think. So Rezard, Lilius, Celesta, no, 3 Celestas. Celesta.
I feel like it's a
Celesta,
little early
Welser.
to say we're in a Resard meta.
Right. So
I definitely saw so many
in that
Celesta players that it
even
was
in
crazy.
that top 8, we had 4 different rulers, and even those lists were like the Celesta lists were not all the same. Like they were playing differently.
They were not mirror matches by any stretch
By
of the
any
word. They
stretch
both
of the
played
imagination.
Celesta. Like that was
Right.
a common.
And so, like, I think the thing to point out, to speak to Trey is, like, it's not play this or die. And there's certainly, and again, being in more of a game where like you actually have to play a 2-person game, naturally pushes that there is a lot more interaction or flexibility and a smaller power window between like tier 1 and 2.
Jeremy, don't tell me you're saying that wealth inequality is one of the biggest sources of strife in a community.
I wouldn't say that Resolut's like super hard to
Going
target. I
to
just think they have to
go-
actually play the game more,
I'm
which
gonna
is
go
kind of what
remove
Jeremy's
Mike
saying.
Rance's mod status. Okay.
Just kind of going into what Jeremy was
No,
saying.
I-
Like
I
I was
paid-
saying, like is
I
Resort
paid to watch
not
this
like
content,
tier
Jeremy. You
one?
can't
Is
do this to
Resort
me.
not a deck that you can interact with? It's like, yeah, you do actually still have to play Resort, and it's not like last format where it's like, I got the combo, all right. 40 minutes later, all right, go.
So
It's like you do 3 things and you pass kind of deal. And yeah, obviously they build you up pretty big, or you might do a couple loops with Schrodiner and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're not going 40 minutes and passing. You're getting the back and forth. Even though I'm getting destroyed because I was playing Arla, for example, it's like, hey, I'm still going back and forth. I still feel like I'm doing something. I may
Yeah.
not be gaining a lot of ground, but at the end of the day, I also have a Faust versus your 2 Faust. But you know,
yeah, and the other thing that I'll say with that too is that it feels like the cards that we have right now have led me to have more interactions and more of a comfort with like actually playing things on my turn.
What?
in more decks. Like
yeah,
like it
jeez.
used to be that it was like, oh, did you spend will during your own turn? That was a
Guess you
mistake.
lose.
Right? But like there hasn't been a deck that I've built so far in this meta with these cards, both at the casual level and even looking to the competitive scene, where like I don't feel bad leaving myself with only like 1 or 2 will going into your turn, even though I had 5 stones at the start of my turn. Like I don't feel bad about that, which I think is that like that's more of a I'm actually playing the game and more of we're having this back and forth because like I'm making moves and then you're making moves and I'm responding to them, or I'm making moves and you're responding to them and then we move on, kind of thing.
And you're not alone there. Like in the online tournament, I saw so many people like tap out. Like even the good players, like table 1 and stuff. I'm like, man, tapping out table 1
On your
wow.
own turn. Like, what are you doing?
Right? Canadian guys say tapoot.
Yeah. So I do want to say we're gonna go ahead and have this. We're gonna go ahead and start the drawing now, and we'll do the drawing
It's a
at the
polar
end
bear.
of it. We're gonna be giving away a set of 5 Force of Will sigil dice. This is thanks to TCG Prime. There's a link to them in the description below. So it's they have the Force of Will crest in the place of the 1?
6.
In the place of the 6. So
Yeah, it's
one-
always the question with
I was like,
dice.
is it 1 of the 6?
I think
So
so.
it's the Force of Will symbol, and it's one of each of the 5 colors. They're very, very cool dice. And then
I
we're
got
also
over
giving
here.
away, as part of the same giveaway, we're going to give away a playset of Lapis Darkstorm promos. So one winner
Ooh,
is gonna
spicy.
get some dice and some Lapis Darkstorm promos. So
You guys are in for a treat.
yeah.
Oh
for
no,
sure.
here's the one.
Is it the one?
Yeah,
They are very
I
sick.
because
I
he's
s-
the
yeah,
sixth.
yeah. I actually use those
Technically,
dice. They are indeed
technically
a,
in the Force of Will rules, those are the only dice you're allowed to use to determine who goes first or second.
Technically.
But no one.
You guys
follows
read
that
the
rule.
rules?
But no one follows that rule. So to
I
get
also have these slowpoke tokens that I use.
entered into the contest,
Get
what
Owen
we're gonna
Wilson
have you
give you
do
those.
is we know
Wow.
what our 7 rulers right now for the next set are the 6 sages and a Cthulhu ruler. So what I want you to do is in the chat, if you want to enter, I'm going to give us now until the end of at 10 o'clock. We'll do the drawing, so that gives you 4 minutes. Put in the chat which of those rulers you are most excited about, whether it be one of the 6 sages or the Cthulhu one. And then we'll do a drawing based on everybody who's done that. You don't have to be a member to enter this contest, although we love it if you become a member. Again, we only at this point in time we have Kiki unlocked, but we're trying to re-unlock Imul because I deleted her. So let's
And
get
if you
5
put
more
Kiki
members.
in your answer, you get bonus points. It doesn't help you win, but we're just saying, just
Yeah,
throw
you
Kiki
right
get
there.
bonus points. What the points do, we don't know yet.
I don't even
Get
know
my
what they
grants
do yet.
credit.
Yeah. So we'll let that be how we determine our winner. So as things come in, I'll go ahead and type in the entries here, and we'll go from there. Who are you guys most excited about, my fellow
Kiki.
Arla.
of the new rulers?
Oh, new rulers. Arla too. It's gonna happen, okay? They're gonna bring him back this format, I'm sure. One of these sets.
I want my list to
Uh,
be good.
I like the
Even though I
Cthulhu
hate
one. I don't have any idea how Cthulhu is gonna work because it kind of had the incarnate thing as the original, and ever since they got rid of the incarnate mechanic, Cthulhu's never had an actual like play style. But I love Cthulhu, so I'm hoping they do.
I'm gonna say
Yeah, honestly-
Mujdart
Ooh.
Hmm.
because Mujdart gets
All freaking
no love
day.
in the game.
They better reprint the stone.
Oh.
I'm gonna make you a wizard. And you're gonna want it.
Okay, so I
Please
do want to
direct
say,
me.
I do want to
Ooh.
point out something real quick. I'm loving your answers right now. I'm seeing like the chat for the most part tonight, other than the wave of Kiki's, has been
Kiki as Cthulhu. Hell yeah.
has been primarily members, and now I have a contest, and so like in my mind, because we have an open chat, so like anybody member or not can chat, unlike when we do the GP streams, which is members only. So like I'm used to seeing a pretty continuous stream of members versus non-members, and so like the chat has been mostly members up to this point, and then I announced the contest, and I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be people who are members already, and it's just a flood of like non-members here.
Can
who
you
have been in the
imagine
chat.
engaging your
And
audience
I'm
in the
just like,
chat? Crazy.
Where have you all been? It's so glad to have you here. Thank you, and welcome. Like,
It's almost like Jeremy's
Marley-
engaging his chat, you know? Crazy.
Okay, I gotta catch up here. Trey. I think I'm caught up. but
Yeah,
you still have
spirits
entries.
were weird. Spirits were so weird how they just like, hey, spirits are here. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I think for me,
And we do have spirits in the last set too. That's
I
also
know-
a good point.
I know who
We did get two spirits.
I know who Mike is most interested in.
Is it Kiki?
It's Gruce. It's Gruce Ballesta.
I
yeah.
am Bruce.
He is also the one that I am. He is also the one that I am most excited about. However, my second most excited one is my list.
Oh, yeah, I want Miles to be
Like,
good for once.
for the same reason that Paul is talking about for Mujdart. Like, Mujdart at least got to be kind of in the story because Valentina like possessed her kind of. My list just didn't do anything. They were just
All right,
like,
you're saying
he's
that,
a sage.
but
He's a sage. Also, he's a spirit for Glorious that one time for some reason.
what did the
that no one
Cthulhu
understands.
rulers do? All right, we got Yogg. Yeah, he did a whole lot of nothing. He just died.
No,
half the
no, no,
time.
no. But like, he was actually a ruler, and like Yogg has kind of
Was
continued
he,
to
though?
appear. Like,
Do you want to something funny?
Literally, the
Going
first
back
Yogg
to-
was the best Yogg, and he wasn't even like hyper playable. And then it just
Yeah.
constantly drops off hill. Now, I'll say that the human version or whatever, yeah, he's a loop.
Yeah, I was
Deal
gonna
with it, Mike. Deal with
Say,
it. He's That's not no. Get out of here.
no,
like
Joey and I put him in our top 5 cards of Curse of the Frozen Casket. We were completely convinced that a 15-15 for 1 with Levity in the format would be good. Little did we know.
yeah. But my list has literally been two resonators, I think. My list has been 2 resonators and has received 0 story. Like, we know
Tommy's right. Nyarlathotep the Resonator is amazing.
we
but
know
that's
nothing
not
about
like
this
that.
man.
Talking
Like,
about
we know
Cthulhu
nothing
is
about
weird.
him. So I'm like, give me my list, even though I'm not a red player, just
Stupid
so I can
trade.
understand
Yeah.
it. Okay,
We'll give an incarnate ruler.
we've got all my entries here. It's 10
Like
o'clock.
Bahamut.
Our winner is drum roll. Naira 007. Naira
jeez.
007. Kiki as a Cthulhu being the ruler they're most excited for.
Yeah.
You are
Cosmic
the
Horror.
winner.
I like how Jeremy counted that answer.
Yeah. Yeah, Naira 007. Go ahead and send your email address or your address and information to content@gmail.com. Send it to there. That your address, your name, and your confirm that it's you. Obviously, please don't be stupid. And
Don't include your credit card information.
don't
Don't
include
be-
your credit card information, and we will
Just
get
your
you.
social security number and the 3-digit code on the
And we will
back
get
of-
you that prize sent out quickly. Travis, in terms of where we're finding this information, if you actually go to the Force of Will official Facebook page, like not the global
What? They
group,
have one of those?
the Force of Will Facebook page, the page for the game, when they showed the poster and the announcement of the new set,
Did they link to it on the official site?
They said the new set will have 6 Sage rulers and a Cthulhu ruler. Like, it said it on the page. So, like, we knew that.
I don't know. Sounds like you're making this up.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
If only there was a website we could
and-
look up where have this information
Yeah,
published.
if only. include your SoundCloud link though.
Yeah, hey bro, check out my SoundCloud. Straight fire, no molest. Oh yeah, I'm so excited people start mispronouncing Milo's name again. That'll be great.
Oh, no.
I
I
left.
don't, there's also
I left.
Gruss
You gotta, swing with the,
Ballesta.
you gotta swing with the ruler. You just gotta
Grooves.
swing with the ruler and you say, I'm gonna molest you.
Gruss Ballesta.
And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and do our
No
sign off
Oj
here.
Whoa.
It has been
Mike ended the stream.
It has been wonderful to talk with you all. There's links to a lot of what we've talked about in terms of the Ruler School Discord, Untap. If you haven't already, it's just untap.in, the website. You can check out the website. Owen Wilson might be returning.
I think
US
Naira needs the email again. Owen Wilson, damn.
Ruler School Content at gmail.com. If you like what we did, if we made you laugh, if we made you smile, and you haven't already joined as a member, you can click that join button down below.
Or if you just want Paul or Owen Wilson to be in the stream again, then
Correct. You can click that join button down below. It helps us re-unlock the iMole emote. And as well as just goes to support the channel and gets you all kinds of cool perks, including to be able to play against us live during Foul Wednesday. This week we will be doing Mikage, so we're very much looking forward to that. As well as just goes to help support the channel and appreciate it. It's minimum $2 per month, but you can go higher for higher tiers for better perks. So
we got to pay for Owen Wilson. So
we do have to pay for Owen Wilson. So
you got to sub. It's necessary.
The royalties are way too high.
He's
Regardless,
not
though,
cheap.
We hope you enjoyed tonight, and we'll see you all next time. And until then, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined by Dylan Hunt, Paul Reisman, and a very expensive cameo by Owen Wilson, but also Mike Rants for most of it.
Please send money. We need it.
And we'll see you all next time. So until then, class dismissed. Have a good night, everybody.